Hi and welcome to the Slick Willy Fly, and today what we're going to do is a Flatwing Muddler. Awesome little bug. So what do we have for materials? We are going to use a Saltwater size 8 streamer hook that I have in the vise right now. I have prepped 3 grizzly hackle feathers, yellow, black, barring. I have small size brass dumbbell eyes with a yellow pupil. I'm going to use a little bit of silly legs, which you see wiggling in there. And in this fly, I used 2 different color feathers, but I think I'm just going to use one color for the one coming. I'm going to use a little bit of brush. I used the brush to separate the legs and give it a little bit more thickness in the body. A couple of turns is all we're going to use. I'm going to use a little bit of olive bucktail. I'm going to use some angel hair. The angel hair that I'm going to use is called peacock. Or actually, this is not called peacock. This one is called grasshopper. Sorry. Peacock's a little bit darker. And then I'm going to use a little bit of this very brownish looking, it's called yellow deer hair body to make the muddler head. In this fly, I used olive and brown. So this one's going to have a little bit more yellow to it. But I like a little variety. So enjoying my cocktail. I think I didn't miss anything. For thread, I'm going to use a little bit of, this is uni thread, and this is 200 denier, 220 denier, black. Black is fine. I might actually switch. I might use 140 denier ultra yellow. I don't know, I haven't decided. But let's go ahead and switch the camera angle. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, and let's tie a fly. Alright, I have decided to go with the black. I just want to have a thread that I can really crank hard with. So I'm just making a little base right now to put the dumbbell eyes. You know, you can easily do the feathers first. Sometimes it feels easier to do the feathers before the dumbbell eyes. When you do the dumbbell eyes, you have to make sure that you give yourself enough room to make this head. You want to end up with a little bit of deer in front of the hook as well. Just like that, that'll work. Beautiful. Now, I'm going to skip the step, but in this fly, normally, if I was just tying for myself and it wasn't in any time crunch, I would definitely put a drop of super glue there and just let that sit for a few minutes and give it the time to dry. But we are going to skip the step for this video. So the first thing I'm going to do is attach a feather. So the length that I'm doing here, the feathers that I picked are all pretty much the same length, and that's important. You want them pretty uniform. And this will determine how big your fly is. So I don't really want it to be super long. You see here, I made it about 1.5 hook shank lengths. So I think I'm going to make this one a little bit shorter. I like to have variety in my fly box. I'm not really tying for anyone else, tying for me, some friends. You know, I could definitely send some flies to friends, but I don't do a lot of flies for other people. So the first fly, the first feather I'm gonna put it on nice and flat, hence the name Flatwing. I'm gonna just take my time and make sure that that feather ends up the way I want it. Trimmed it just a hair long, just making it hard on myself, fighting against the dumbbell eyes. So a couple of loose wraps, making sure that that feather is exactly positioned the way I want it, just like that. And once it's there, I can crank that hard. Beautiful. Just like that. That's how I wanted that to look. Nice and flat. So the magic with a flat wing is that the flash that we're going to use sits between the feathers. So now I'm going to take a little bit of this peacock, or I wonder if I called that wrong again. Yes, I did it again. This is grasshopper. They're not that similar. The peacock is a little bit darker, but they're in the greens, and they're fairly similar. So I'm just going to pull out a tiny amount, just like that, and I'm going to fold that over. And now I'm going to take a scissor and I'm going to cut open this loop just to make my life a little bit easier. And I'm actually going to trim off some of these really wild edges. And now it doesn't matter if I'm too long. I'm gonna about the same length, maybe a hair shorter than the feather. And now I'm just gonna get it on there nice and hard. And then I'm gonna take the remaining and just flip it over and lock it nice and hard. Perfect. Super simple. This is not a hard tie, but you do need to take your time and make sure that the materials end up where you want them. If something's too long, I don't cut, I just kind of rake my scissor. So now it's another feather. You could have pre-prepped all the feathers so that it would be exactly the same length. That would have been a smart thing to do. Smarter than me, especially after a few cocktails. But so now I'm just going to go ahead and put this feather on top. I often put it a little bit more on my side of the hook so that as I pull, as I wrap the thread, it ends up nice and flat and the way I want it to sit. Just like that. And now I cut that tag off. So now you have a choice. You can use a little bit more. You could switch to a different kind of flash. I'm just going to use a little bit more of the same grasshopper. I like the grasshopper because it has a lot of like different colors kind of blended together from the packaging. And you notice I'm pulling out barely nothing. This is a fun fly to tie, an even more fun fly to fish, and muddlers are proven fish catchers. Flatwings are proven fish catchers, so this is just a very logical blending. Maybe I should slow down on my cocktails today. I'm just having a fun Saturday evening, and just having a good Saturday. I had a really good day with my daughter today, so it was fun. I'm in a new phase in life. I have adult children, so it's kind of cool. Alright, so that's the second feather done with a flash. So now we're just going to measure the length. Yeah, the only bad part about having adult children is that they move out. And on the one hand, you're super happy that they're doing good and starting their lives, but on the other hand, you just want them to be home. You just want them around. At least I do. I like having my kids around. But I guess I'm lucky. I have really good kids. Both my kids have never given me any trouble, or both like to fish and duck hunt and do the kind of stuff I enjoy. So I'm blessed in that way. Alright. So that's it. Tails are on and flash is done. So now, making a mess. So now it's the brush. The brush, I'm going to use barely nothing of this brush, just a couple wraps, and you don't have to use brush. You can do this with anything. You can use yarn. You can pretty much use anything. I like the color of this brush, and I like the thickness of this brush, and it just makes life easy. And I have the brush, so why not? So I'm just gonna stroke everything, and I'm gonna give this probably, I can't imagine that I would do more than a third turn, but even that's probably enough right there. In fact, I'm gonna stop right there. So now I just need to bring my thread back and capture the brush. And because it's wire, I'm going to use my wire cutter. I'm going to come in here and try to clip it as close as I can. Just like that. Got to fold that little tag down. My nail. And make sure that that's secured. Now you could take a needle, or you could take a dubbing brush and just fluff this thing out. I think it's a good idea to do. Okay, so now it's silly legs. And it's enough with 2, but you can use more if you like more. I'm just going to use 2. And I got 3. So we're using 3. Remember, this is going to swim hook side up, so you need to consider that when you place the legs. I just put them as even as I could on the hook. And now I want them to end up on the bottom like they did, but I want to make sure that I get them on either side. Just like that. You know, what I could do to make my life easier at this point is invert the fly. That would definitely make life easier. Couple of crazy fibers, just noticed. They gotta be from the brush, I guess. Not sure where they came from. But alright, so now I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that I put my materials back, just so I get them going in the right direction. Because now I'm going to use a little bit of olive bucktail. Super simple fly. You know, there's a little bit more materials than I normally use, but nothing expensive, nothing really difficult to work with. Just pretty simple. I'm pulling out the shorts. I'm going to stack this hair. I'm going to trim it a little bit just to make my life easy. We'll end up trimming it again. I'm going to grab my hair stacker. A couple of wild ones there. I'm probably going to do this a second time. Now I'm just trying to get a little bit of a length. I like that length right there. I don't want this to be too much longer than the hook. I'm going to trim this. Couple of loose wraps, and now I'm going to work it around the hook. Easier with a needle. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. I'm going to do a second clump just because I want to make sure I have good coverage. So now what's important now is that you're about the same length, as best as you can. Use your thumb just to work that around a little. And once you like that, I kind of hold everything, but then I crank hard here. And that came out exactly the way I wanted. The olive is the main part of the body. Okay, beautiful. Now I'm going to take a fine scissor and I'm going to try and take off a lot of this extra hair. The only reason I'm trimming this up is because we're going to switch to the other deer hair and it'll just look a lot cleaner. You know, when I trim up my deer hair on this particular fly, I'm probably going to only use my scissors. I might use a razor a little, but one of the things I really don't want to do is accidentally take any of the paint off the dumbbell eyes. So I'm going to be really careful now with the next clump of deer hair that when I trim, I'm really careful to not shave any of the paint off the dumbbell eyes. It probably doesn't matter to the fish anyway, but I think it's nice when my flies look good. I think that fly came out really nice. And this is 100% done with a scissor. No razor at all. So if you just take your time, you make them look beautiful. And I'm going to fast forward the video through the trimming portion. I don't even know if I'm going to show any trimming at all. Here you don't have to stack anything because all of this is going to get trimmed up. I try to keep the tips at the most halfway up the olive in case I don't trim, in case I miss trimming something. Again, a couple of loose wraps, and now it's just basically it's spinning deer hair. So it's just getting it on there, wiggle through, get some more back. And before I go too far, I'm going to put another clump on there. I'll probably end up putting 3-4 clumps on before I even start taking a scissor to anything. You know, I think it's important that when you're doing this, that you work your deer hair back into clumps, being careful not to stab yourself with the hook like I just did, and just packing it back, getting as much of this packed towards the back as possible. That's how you make the deer hair, when you trim it, that's how you make it look good, by keep packing it towards the back. So now I'm going to reverse. I'm going to do the bottom, same thing on the bottom. Now I'm going to put a clump in front of the eyes. And I think that's it. You can just do half hitches with your fingers like this, or if you have a half hitch tool, just super simple to use a half hitch tool, pull everything back and put a few half hitches in. If you're really talented, you can try to give this a whip finish, but it's really not needed. Pull it nice and tight, get everything nice and hard, and now you're done with the tying portion of this fly. Just like that. Beautiful. That came out great. So what I like to do, and I'm going to fast forward, but I like to start with the eyes. I just open up just around the eyes, and I'll do this on both sides. And once I've opened up and exposed the eye, then I can start actually trimming this fly. So that's the tip I'm going to give before I start fast forwarding. Hey, so welcome back. So there it is. You know, this fly, I love tying these flies they're a little bit harder. I'm not gonna go and say this is a beginner tie because of the deer hair, but you shouldn't fear the deer hair. These are great flies, a lot of fun to tie, super effective. This is a great fly for brown trout, for a lot of different species. It's just using the appropriate hook. These two that I've tied now they're on saltwater hooks. So I'm thinking Chokoloskee redfish, flamingo redfish. We're on shallow water, maybe sea trout. These would probably be great for sea run trout in Sweden as well. Saltwater hooks. So this is on a size 4. This is on a size 8. I believe that's correct. Pretty sure. But anyway, super fun to tie. I hope you enjoyed them. They're great. I mean, the Muddler is a great fly. The Flatwing is a great, fly. So it's just to combine them and throw in a little bit of Sidley legs. I mean, it seems natural. So don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed the video, and good luck catching.